Hey guys, Dwayne here. Today I want to talk a little bit about family members and how they cannot be helpful when you're trying to recover through this type of situation. I'm going to talk about a situation that I'm currently dealing with, and I've been dealing with for a while. So a lot of us in our family of origins are going to come from toxic, abusive parents, basically narcissistic parents, narcissistic personality disorder type parents. When you start going through this and you start learning about that, and you're able to take an objective view of what has happened with your married relationship or romantic relationship, and you start working through that, and then you back up and you start looking at other parts of your life, more than likely, not always, but there's a significant possibility that you'll realize as you're going through this that you grew up in this type of environment, which made you even more susceptible to narcissistic abuse and codependency because of that. I mean, it's a reality of the situation. For one, that's what you considered and that's what you thought was normal. So, more than likely during the love bombing stage of your relationship, it was incredible, right? I mean, because you have somebody who's telling you everything that you want to hear and, making you feel like you're really important, and and all those things, and mimicking back to you everything that you think that you want in a relationship. And then we all know that after you've been hooked, that changes, the whole dynamic changes, and it turns into the experience that you had. Now the problem is, the reality is that when that shift changes, or when that shift happens, it mimics more than likely what the environment you grew up in. So your alarm bells don't necessarily go off as effectively. I mean, they're going to go off. I mean, you're going to have indications that things aren't quite right, but because you grew up in the environment, you're used to that type of behavior. It seems normal to you, so you'll make excuses for it and allow it to happen. Now that's okay. So now that's my perspective and my situation. Now other people who maybe didn't come from didn't have a family of origin where that was the case, maybe it's there is a different path. Bottom line is that these folks are so good at going from the love bombing stage and then slowly changing into the manipulative, abusive behavior, that it happens gradually. So, I mean, even if you don't have, you didn't grow up in that environment, you're still very susceptible to it because of the way the process happens. But that's not really the intent of this video. I want to talk about family members and how they can inflict some significant trauma onto you. So the situation for me, as I mentioned in a bunch of different other videos, is I really had the epiphany of what I was going through a couple of years ago. And as I started working through it, recognizing the role my ex played, and then because of the situation with my kids and stuff like that, I could see significant parallels to how my ex was reacting compared to what I went through as a kid with the way my mom was reacting and engaging in stuff. So there was an incident a couple of years ago, I think it's a couple of years ago now, right around the same time, where the situation that I used to have, and I had this, and you guys may experience this as well, where people bring you down. where you'll have a situation where things are going okay, or maybe they're not going okay, but you're trying to convince yourself that it's okay, and then someone will come along, either your spouse or a family member, and destroy it for you. I've always, that's been, up until in the last couple of years, that's been a situation that I routinely dealt with, from family, from friends, in my work situation, pretty much everywhere. There was this constant battle of every time I felt like I would have victory, might be a strong word, but a positive thing happening in my life, there would be somebody who would come along and basically, try to pull the rug out from underneath you or underneath me in that situation and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm kind of, bottom line is, what I'm getting at is there was a minor incident, but it happened along that. I'm dealing with the situation with my ex. I had something that was going on that wasn't necessarily great, but what did I do? I purchased, actually what it was, I was having a flat tire. I purchased a really small air compressor, and I was trying to make a positive out of it. Like, hey, I always wanted an air compressor. Yay, I got one. Basically I got the air compressor because my tires were shot on my vehicle. I knew I didn't have the $700 or $800 to do it. The tire kept going flat. I needed a way to air it up so I could get to work, to continue to make money, to pay the ex, that type of thing. And I had my mom and her significant other basically jab me in the eye on it, that, well, I should be doing stuff for the kids. The kids need medical stuff and everything like that. Now, keep in mind, this is also around the time that I'm just getting to the stage where I'm going to sue the ex because I kept getting collection notices. So basically, I had no money, I had no credit, I had no credit cards, and I had collection notices coming all the time, which puts my employment at risk and all that stuff. And that was the stage where I had enough. And I basically said, I'm done. And I stopped talking with them. And there was a typical, the narcissistic rage and the attack and and all that kind of stuff that goes along with it. And I maintained my ground over the course of a few months. Things progressed, or got a little bit better. I mean, it better, worse, whatever. But the relationship significantly changed. I made a point and a decision around that time in my life where I started taking negative, toxic people and basically removing them from my life. I was tired of being in a situation where every time you turn around, you had somebody trying to knock you down. And if you guys are going through this, there's not a lot of joy when you're going through this. It's a very difficult, stressful, emotional time. And, we've talked a little bit about those little victories, right? Those little victories are crucial. But if you have external influences or external people, family, friends, whatever they are, who, when you do have those little victories, and I'm not saying the air compressor was a victory, but I'm just saying, something that you're trying to make as a positive in your life, and they're basically destroying it. And guys, this isn't a one-off thing. I could go down a laundry list of experiences that were, that I was trying to get a little bit of joy out of, and it was like a dink, anyways, that's parts are irrelevant. The part I'm getting to on this is, so as I'm trying to, figure out how this relationship is going to play out, and, part of it was, okay, so the kids, still allow the kids to visit and stuff like that. And we rolled into a Christmas where it was, my time with the kids. Obviously she wanted to see the kids, and I'm like, okay, so I'll facilitate this. I don't necessarily want, everyone in my house, but I tell you what, I'll compromise. I'll let you have for half my vacation of the Christmas holiday, I'll let you have it with the kids. That way you get to have Christmas with them. You can have them for New Year's, and it'll be great. And it was working out okay. And I even actually was facilitating or talking about, the Easter break was the next one that was going to be with me. I'm like, hey, because I don't really have a lot of leave, definitely don't have a lot of money, and was trying to figure out, okay, how could this work? So we were talking even before that trip was over about having them, my kids, go up for the Easter break. So after the Christmas holiday, like around the kids' birthdays, which are in February, or I have two kids whose birthdays are in February. I get a note saying, "Hey, you're a jerk, and you don't talk to me as much anymore. So I've decided that I'm going to be friends with your ex-wife, and we're spending time with her now, and just wanted to let you know." I was like, "You've got to be kidding me." So I took that as my reason, I guess, to finally say, okay, I am Dunny McDun, no contact, and I'm done, right? And and then I obviously was met with anger and more anger and frustration and legal. It was an incredible time. Now, I will say that after having gone through a lot of this, it was an impact. I can't lie about that. And it still basically bothers me, but it isn't as traumatic as some of the stuff I've been through in the past. It still sucks. And to be honest, my youngest told me the other day that, they're coming down for this. So this weekend where I don't have the kids, they're all hanging out at my ex's house. So, my point on this is, and I've talked about narcissists being unpredictable in the past. And bottom line, guys, they can be vicious. So, I would say, mentally prepare yourself for it. Even family members, if they have these traits, they will do the most vicious, mean, and hurtful things that they possibly can do. Now, and then it rolls into being able to, validate and justify it, right? It's like we've talked about this before too, where they can take different pieces of their story and make it, in their mind, legitimate, right? Because so technically I wasn't communicating as much. I wasn't, inviting them to come hang out at my house. They're like 6 hours away. But I was facilitating them communicating. But again, right? So that's not the story, right? It's not going to be, oh, well, hey, you had this thing going on. So my take on it was, okay, hey, fine. You know what? You've decided to reconcile with my ex. What is going on. This person was in the inner circle, so they had all the inside information of what was going on. They know what was happening with the therapist. They know what, the ex has done. Now, granted, I guess I never got to the point where I actually talked to them about my belief of her being a NPD. But bottom line is they know the damage. They know all of the stuff that's going on, and it doesn't matter, right? It's whatever is, so they've switched the perspective or the refrain on what they're talking about, and decided that this was a good thing. And were completely shocked when I said, have a nice life. Please, I never want, stay the heck away from me. And since you've now reconciled with the ex, then you can, she can share time with the kids. Maybe she'll let you take the kids for part of your summer vacation or whatever. Stay away from me. So the point of this video is just to talk a little bit about being prepared for that I mean, I don't think necessarily that you can ever really be prepared for that type of betrayal. But I guess being prepared for the unexpected, like I've done another video on that, and it can come from, I mean, it's easier, I guess, when it's coming from your ex and you're expecting it. But if there's other people in your life that follow into this trait, they have the same capacity to wreak havoc and create trauma as your ex does. So if you come from a family of origin where you suspect that they are also narcissist or narcissistic personality disorder type folks, come from the cluster B, guys, just be prepared for it to come from multiple angles. The bad part about it is if you're going through this, you probably, there's that learning curve and that transition period to where you don't know what you know. You don't know what you know. Yeah, you don't know what you know. And then when you figure it out, I mean, some of that's too late. But what I mean by that is, you've had already conversations. You've pulled these people into your inner circle and stuff like that. You just have to be really careful. Okay, so, just wanted to mention that. I know some other people have had similar experiences. Folks haven't necessarily mentioned the detail, but some of the back end stories demonstrate the same thing. So if you've already been through this, and you're probably going, oh yeah, I've been through that. I can relate. Maybe not specifically what that situation, but something along the same lines. If you're in the early stages of going through this, just be cautious of it. Keep your eyes open and your mind open, and mentally prepare yourself for that type of situation to happen. And bottom line, guys, I would say if you start going through stuff like this and you start seeing stuff like this, take steps to start eliminating it out of your life, even if it's family. And I know it's tough, but you owe it to yourself to remove that chaos and that trauma potential from your life. Okay, so on that, if you want to share on this one, this is kind of a weird topic, leave it in the comments below. And like this video, whatever. If you can relate to this video, give it a thumbs up. Again, like I've said before, if the channel's helping you, please subscribe so you get notified of new videos. If you know somebody who's going through something similar, share the video with them. Maybe it might give them some skills or I didn't really talk about skills on how to cope with this, but at least the idea that stuff like this might happen, so you're not so blindsided by it. And I will talk to you guys in the next video, so take care. Bye.